What's great about knowing how to wrap is the ability to transform everyday objects, like in this case a coffee maker, very quickly and easily with a minimal amount of material and in a minimal amount of time. So it's one of those things that you can just easily transform the kitchen, lickety-split, great stuff, and this is how you do it. First off, obviously you want to clean, okay, and you also have to make the right choice. In this case, the coffee maker is made up of two different types of plastic. One is textured and the other is smooth. Textured plastics don't hold the material well for the long term, basically because of surface energy. So in this case, the only section of the coffee maker that's going to hold up for the long term is the smooth section on the top. And then obviously you want to clean it, and within this, like in this case on the coffee maker and most appliances, on the edges and any kind of corners and stuff like that, it's very, very tight. So you definitely want to put your squeegee in this case, a microfiber towel, and really dig it in there to make sure it's super, super clean. And then, in this case, you want to cut the material so you have enough top to bottom, left to right, so it covers. Especially when you swing around the corner, it tends to dip down or up. So you always want to make sure that you have enough coverage, excess, so you don't come up short. And then what's nice about this coffee maker is it does have little curves on the sides and stuff like that, but it's generally straight. So you can use calendar film, or in this case, this is cut vinyl film, and it's cast. But again, you don't have to use a super premium film when you're wrapping a coffee maker, because again, you don't have any super deep recessed areas or compound curves, so the material can have a nice low cost point while still having a great effect. And then once the material fits, in this case, because it's such a small object, you can just release the entire backing paper. And then it's always nice because the coffee maker is light and is not necessarily secured very well to the surface, in this case a table. It's always nice to have someone just come and hold the coffee maker in place while you just kind of form the material around the corner. And again, you want to apply a little bit of heat, in this case using a propane torch, and again, see how it moves, just a gentle heat, and then nice and evenly pull the film around the corner so it doesn't bunch up. And the big thing is you just obviously don't want to let it bunch up on the corners, but now that it's around the sides, and it's not overstretched, just kind of stretched a little bit, then you can squeegee. And again, the hinge started in the middle at the back, so you want to kind of separate it into two portions, front and back. Just kind of makes it easier and more straightforward to apply. And you can either cut the excess film out and work the other half, is what they're doing in this case, or you can take the whole backing paper off and form it around the side and then do your cutting. So it doesn't matter exactly how you approach it. But again, here's a nice example. One person just kind of holds the film away, and they're not pulling, they're just kind of holding the material while one person gently heats the material and kind of creates glass, just kind of relaxing the material so it can go around the corner in a nice one shot. So again, the trick is to relax the film, and again, you're stretching the film, but just not overstretching. Just kind of gently pull it around just so that it conforms. And once the material is in place and you have glass and you look at the corners and the corners are nice and smooth, then you can start to squeegee. And again, obviously you want to use the squeegee with a nice buffer and just squeegee nice and uniform until the material is fully on the surface. For cutting, obviously you want to click before you cut, and then it's simply about choosing the right side to cut on. In this case, the side that's being cut is on the textured plastic side, and this is considered an empty solid where the textured plastic is empty, and the side that has been applied with the cherry red film is solid. So the reason why you're choosing this side to cut on is that the film's going to slightly wrap around the bottom section there. And again, on a lot of appliances, like on this coffee maker, it's a very tight break between the parts. So again, you want to set it up at this. Cutting on the right side makes a big difference in terms of full coverage and visual. So in this case, the material is squeegeed and set up properly. The knife being used is extremely sharp, was clicked before it cut. And then the blade is on the left side of this break. And by being on the left side of the break, you get a little extra bit of film that then, when you squeegee down to seal, forms on that side so you get full coverage in terms of viewing. It also makes it a little more durable for the long term. And again, see how tight this edge is? So instead of using the buffer side of the squeegee, the hard edge was used in this case. So again, always just make a good call in terms of setup. And once you have a uniform visual on the edge there, again, now this side, the top section here is the rough textured. So the blade is hugging the left or the top portion there. And then it's sealed with the hard part of the squeegee. So sometimes you can use the buffer, sometimes it's better to use the hard part of the squeegee just because it's a little tighter. And again, that's just making a good judgment call there. And then once the edges are sealed, it's always nice to go over with a little bit of heat. And again, Preferably always use a heat gun just because it's always a little safer and you don't have a chance of glossing any kind of plastic there. But the installers here have a nice, good, steady hand, so they're always moving the torch if you're using propane. And even on a natural break here on the back, sometimes that can be bridged, but in this case it's always better to cut it so that you have a nice seal. So in this case you want to make sure your blade's directly in the middle so you get full coverage left and right. And then once the material is applied to the main surface area, always go back with heat. And heat is like a truth serum. If there's any edge that's not quite sealed, it'll jump up once the heat is applied to it. So again, just kind of lightly go over all the edges to make sure they're down nice and tight, and that really helps for the long-term durability. And what's great about coffee makers in this case, you don't need to post heat, very straightforward. So if you clean properly, seal all the edges, in this case, very good fundamentals. It's going to stick for the long term. And again, this took about 7 minutes to install, and you got a brand new coffee maker, and Alberto can take a bow. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Pate.